Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Here are some lesser known new features in iOS 16 for the iPhone. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. There are a lot of big new features in iOS 16 for the iPhone, but there are also a lot of small features. Some of them are really interesting and useful. For instance, when you create a timer in iOS 16, it will now appear on the lock screen as well as in the timer app. So I can go back to the lock screen like this and you can see the timer there at the bottom. Even with your iPhone locked, you can pause the timer, resume it, and stop it. Of course, we're going to find a lot of these new features in the Settings app. If you go into the Settings app and then look for Sounds and Haptics, and now about halfway down you'll see keyboard feedback. And you can turn on haptic feedback for the keyboard. So every time you tap a key you'll feel a tiny little vibration. If you go down to Accessibility and then to Touch, there's a new feature here that I know a lot of people are going to love. Prevent lock to end call. So if you turn that on and you accidentally lock your phone, it won't actually hang up the call. In Siri and Search, you can now go to automatically send messages here and turn this on. So now you can have Siri send the message that you're dictating without it having to prompt you to confirm. And another new Siri feature is now when you're on a call, if you have the Hey and Siri feature enabled, you could say those two words and hang up and the call will hang up. In Settings under Safari, you've got Autofill. And now one of the things you can do in Autofill is you can go to Saved Credit Cards and there's now a spot to put your card security code and that'll automatically be filled in with autofill so you don't have to type your security code each time. In Settings under Wi-Fi, if you get info with the I button for your current Wi-Fi network, there's Password and you can tap on it and it will allow you to copy, speak, and most importantly reveal the password for Wi-Fi. Really handy when somebody else is asking you for your Wi-Fi password and you can't remember what it is at the moment. Here's a feature that if you're concerned about app privacy you're going to love this. So you're going to go to Security and Privacy right here. Then you're going to go down to App Privacy Report and you're going to turn this on. Now when you go to use an app, like let's say let's use the weather app here, and then back here to Settings App Privacy Report, it'll actually show you the apps that have been contacting servers on the internet and you can dig down and see exactly what they've been contacting. Under Focus, there's a new special feature of one particular focus, the sleep focus. That is, now there's options under the home screens, particularly the lock screen. If you go to options, you can turn off the time for the lock screen. So you can use this focus to have your iPhone not display the time. If you go to your Apple ID settings and then go to iCloud, then you can go to iCloud Backup. And if you have that turned on, it'll actually show you a breakdown of how much space each app is using in your iCloud Backup. And you can disable certain apps so they don't back up to iCloud. In the Settings app you'll now get a special thing that appears at the top when you're using AirPods. And you can dig down and get to all of your AirPods controls really easily. So Quick Notes is already a feature of macOS and iPadOS, but it comes to the iPhone in iOS 16 and you can get to it a couple of ways. One is in Control Center you can now add it. So you can see there's both Notes and Quick Notes that you can add to Control Center. So anytime you want to create a Quick Note, just drag down from the top right to bring up Control Center and you'll see the Quick Note button right there. And if you do it from inside Safari, then you'll get the option to add a link to the page that you're looking at. In addition, the Share menu will also include an option to add a Quick Note throughout the operating system. A new trick in the Camera app is to allow you to convert units and currency. Notice the little yellow box around that text there. It's kind of like a QR code. I'm just in the regular Camera app here. I'm not doing anything special. If I tap here, notice it comes up with all the options. And look down here, 75 miles per hour. I tap on it and now I got that converted to different units. And I can do the same thing here for currency. If I tap here, it's going to bring it up and it'll give me conversions right there. But you could also get that inside of any text. So here I am in the Notes app and I can select text like this, and if I scroll over here in the menu, you see the last item there is actually a conversion. A useful new feature, at least for me, is the Spotlight button that's here on the home screens. And you can tap that and then get right into Spotlight. But however you use Spotlight, you can do a few new things with it now. I'm sure more apps will have hooks into this in the future. But for now, you can do things like, say, type timer. So you can start a new timer or create a new alarm. Just tap there and it takes you right to it. If you want to use the dictation function either here like in Notes or in the Messages app, you can now mix dictation with the keyboard. This is a test period. In the Photos app now, you've got your hidden and recently deleted folders. The difference is now they're both locked and it requires Face ID or typing in your passcode to get access. Playlists in the Music app now allow you to sort by a whole bunch of different criteria. A couple new things in the Contacts app. One is it will notice duplicates. So I've got 2 duplicates here. I notice at the bottom it will say 1 duplicate found and it will allow me to view them and merge or ignore. You also can go to your own card like this one and then edit the icon at the top, and you could select an emoji like before. And you can use one of these sticker poses as your emoji. Now before you could do that, but there was a limited set. Now you could just use any of them that you want as your new Memoji. So in the Files app, if you're in iCloud, you can see a document that hasn't been downloaded or cached locally. And you can tap on the little cloud icon there to download it. One thing that you can do now that you couldn't do before though is you can tap and hold, bring up the menu, and there's Remove Download. So this doesn't do anything to the file in iCloud. It just takes it out of the local cache to free up some space. Something we could have done for a while now on Macs but not in iOS. Copying and pasting between apps is a little more secure now. If you select some text here, I'll copy and then let me go to another app like Messages here and I will paste in. It's going to ask me for permission. Before it just gave you a notification that you could easily miss. And here's a feature that involves the Apple Watch. If you have an Apple Watch and it's updated to watchOS 9, then with iOS 16 you can now actually view the screen. It can mirror to your phone. So to get to it, go to Accessibility and then you should see Apple Watch mirroring. Turn it on and now you'll be able to see your Apple Watch's screen. And you can manipulate your watch and then see the different things reflected on this mirror on the screen. But you could also control it on the screen of your phone as well to go in, control the watch from there. Oh, one last thing. If you have an iPhone 13 or newer, you can now use Face ID even holding your iPhone horizontally. So I hope you found these small features of iOS 16 useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.